Now, how about a few basic facts about observation of the universe as it is today? And there's plenty of physical evidence of a recently created universe. Take a look at this. In fact, the font size here. There's a book entitled The Implications of Evolution by G.A. Kerkut. Makes 7 basic assumptions which an evolutionist must make in order to maintain his position. He then must fit the evidence into these assumptions. A little bit of contravention. Non-living things gave rise to living material. Spontaneous generation could occur only once. Viruses, bacteria, plants, animals are all interrelated. Protozoa gave rise to multi-cellular organisms. Invertebrates are interrelated. Invertebrates gave rise to vertebrates. All vertebrates are related. That makes for a pretty complicated thing. The assumptions of evolution are magnificent in the way that they support the model of evolution. But the evidence from science is zero. There is no evidence that demands an evolutionary idea, especially at the exclusion of creationism. On the other hand, there is much evidence to show that a God of creation had to be involved in this. So the ages-old controversy between creationism and evolution can be settled by an honest and thorough investigation of the Bible and creation itself. First of all, there is physical evidence everywhere that testifies to a recent creation. For example, you want to start with what we can observe. You're on common grounds with people who don't like the Bible and have all kinds of emotional reaction to it. Put that at a distance and let's see what we can observe. For example, astronomy points to a creation of a mature and recent universe, not evolution into an old one. A common opinion is that the very distance of the far galaxies testifies that the universe must be billions of years old. Since these galaxies are known to be some few billion light years away, by definition, it has taken that number of years for their light to reach us. Therefore, they are at least that old. So the argument goes. But this contention, of course, begs the question. It constitutes an implicit denial that the universe could have been created as a functioning entity. If creation has occurred at all, and the 2 principles of thermodynamics require this, then it is reasonable that it would have been a complete creation. It must have had an appearance of age at the moment of creation. The photons of light energy were created at the same instant as the stars from which they were apparently derived, so that an observer on the Earth would have been able to see the most distant stars within his vision at the instant of creation. There is nothing unreasonable, either philosophically or scientifically, in this, although it does contradict the uniformitarian assumption, which means that the things that we see today are the same processes that have been going on for umpteen years, billions, millions, or just thousands. Even apart from this factor, it's not commonly realized how many esoteric assumptions enter in even such apparently simple concepts as the speed of light and the geometric nature of the universe. To illustrate, a recent theory rather vigorously advocated by some astrophysicists strongly questions the constancy of the velocity of light in space and time, as well as the generally accepted Einsteinian nature of the universe. These writers regard the universe much more realistically as a Euclidean universe, three-dimensional as in our everyday experience, and the velocity of light as a constant with respect to its source, rather than with respect to any observer, as Einstein does. We can talk about that a little later. In essence, therefore, the method of this paper leaves astronomical space unchanged, but reduces the time required for light to travel from a star to the Earth. Now, there's another thing that has to do with the relationship between light and gravity. If the universe were in the center, the Earth were in the center of the universe, the gravitational force would be maximized there, and that affects the amount of gravitational time and space relationship would make the light travel much quicker from outskirts of the universe to the center of the universe, the Earth, let's say. And On the outside of the universe, the light would travel much more time would be involved. Parry, Moon, and Spencer, binary stars and the velocity of light. Or more specifically and rather surprisingly, the acceptance of Riemannian space allows us to reject Einstein's relativity and keep all the ordinary ideas of time and all ideas of Euclidean space out to a distance of a few light years. Astronomical space remains Euclidean for material bodies, but light is considered to travel in Riemannian space. In this way, the time required for light to reach us from the most distant stars is only 15 years. Astronomy has nothing really definite, though, as yet to say about the age of the universe. And this is entirely aside from the really much more fundamental issue of the reality of genuine creation. So, mankind evidently did not evolve, but was given all of his capacities instantly, and so it was with the way the universe was created. Many evolutionists maintain that creationists believe that God made the earth and the universe with age, but this is not true. Creationists maintain that God did not create the universe with age. They believe that Adam was fully mature and fully operational when he was created, probably with the appearance of a man approximately the age of 26 to 30 years. Yet while he was fully mature, he was only 2 minutes old. The time for man began the moment God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life and he became a living soul. He had no age until that moment, yet he was still fully mature. The universe reflects this same experience. There is no age in the universe until the moment of creation, but there is mature, full-blown operation. It is a mature universe, not an old universe. And it is not the appearance of age, but the immediate observation of maturity. How about time-space dilation? We can go back. Let's see if we can do this. Time-space dilation. I did an article on that, the relationship of gravity, which I just spoke of, versus the speed of light. Look down here on the letter T. Time. The Earth may be in the center of the universe, the center of gravity. Hence, light from distant stars arrives much smoother, faster. So, the only possible exception of any consequence of this statement might be the nova's okay. Time-space dilation. Take a look at D-I-L-A-T. Oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is it. Take a look at this. Dr. Humphrey's new creationist cosmology literally falls out of the equations of general relativity so long as one assumes that the universe is a boundary. That's it. What happens? Well, suppose it is a completed universe with a boundary. It's so large that it looks like it's infinite to us. In other words, that it has a center and an edge. That if you were to travel off into space, you would eventually come to a place beyond which there is no more matter. In this cosmology, the Earth is near the center as it appears to be as we look out into space. This might sound like common sense, as indeed it is, but all modern secular Big Bang cosmologies deny this. They can't prove it either way. That is, they make arbitrary assumption without any scientific necessity that the universe has no boundaries, no edge and no center. In this assumed universe, every galaxy would be surrounded by galaxies spread evenly in all directions on a large enough scale, and so therefore all the net gravitational forces cancel out. However, if the universe has boundaries, then there is a net gravitational effect toward the center. Clocks at the edge would be running at a different rate the clocks on the Earth. By the way, we experimented that between Boulder and Greenwich, England, Boulder, Colorado, and found out there was a difference in the clocks that were a mile above one above the other. In other words, it is no longer enough to say that God made the universe in 6 days. He certainly did, but 6 days by which clock? The one on the Earth. That's the one we measure. If we say God's time, we miss the point that he's outside of time, seeing the end from the beginning. There appears to be observational evidence that the universe has expanded in the past, supported by the many phrases God uses in the Bible to tell us that at creation, he stretched out the heavens. If the universe is not much bigger than we can observe, and if it was only 50 times smaller in the past than it is now, then scientific deduction based on general relativity means it has to have expanded out of a previous state in which it was surrounded by an event horizon, a condition known technically as a white hole, a black hole running in reverse, something permitted by the equations of general relativity. As a matter of passed out of this event horizon, the horizon itself had to shrink eventually to nothing. Therefore, at one point in this Earth, to a point in time it would have been virtually frozen. An observer on Earth would then not in any way feel different. Billions of years would be available in the frame of reference within which it is traveling in deep space. For light to reach the Earth, for stars to age, while less than one ordinary day is passing on the Earth. That's because of the massive gravitational time dilation at the center of the universe, which the Earth very well might be, and what seemed to be a scientific inevitability if a bounded universe expanded significantly. So, very interesting thought. Go back and read the rest of this. It sounds great, because God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and the whole universe. All that is planted out there. It took billions of years, perhaps, to go out to the outside stretches, but as far as observational and time concerned in the center of the earth, it was 1 day, and another day, another 6 days. Okay, so, gravitational time dilation. Look under time, or the letter G for gravitational time dilation. Now, we'll have more on this next time.